I found this story where it shouldn't have been, and once you hear it, it doesn't let go.
How I delivered food to a house that wasn't there. The delivery note said, "If you hear me screaming inside, don't come in." That was already terrifying. But the worst part was that the order had been placed under my own name. I'm Mr. D, and you are listening to Mr. D Stories. Most of you listening to my stories are not subscribed yet, so please like and subscribe to hear more from Bloody Chapter. It was 2:41 in the morning when the order came through, the kind of late night delivery nobody wants, but everybody takes when rent is due and your bank account is breathing like a dying animal. The restaurant was a small burger place on the edge of town, the last open place before the highway turned into black fields. The order was already packed when I arrived, sitting alone on the counter in a brown paper bag with no logo, no receipt, and no steam coming from it even though the cook swore he had just made it. The customer name on the app said Danish and I laughed at first because I thought it was a glitch. Maybe someone with the same name, maybe a prank, but then I saw the address and stopped smiling. 17 Hollow Creek Lane. That street did not exist. At least, not yet. I knew that area because I had delivered near it before. It was a half-built housing development where construction had stopped 2 years earlier after 3 workers disappeared during a night shift. People said the company ran out of money. Other people said the workers were still buried under the foundations. The app showed the destination clearly, a blinking red pin in the middle of the unfinished neighborhood, and underneath it, the delivery instructions said, "Leave it at the back door. Don't knock. Don't look through the windows. If you hear me screaming inside, don't come in." I should have canceled. I know that. Every person listening knows that. But fear does something strange when you are tired and broke. It starts sounding like an excuse. So I told myself it was just some teenager trying to be creepy, placed the bag on the passenger seat, and drove out of town. The rain started 5 minutes later, soft at first, then heavy enough to turn the windshield into moving glass. My GPS led me past the highway, past the last gas station, past the street lights, until the road narrowed into mud and gravel. The unfinished houses appeared one by one through the rain, dark wooden skeletons with plastic sheets flapping where windows should have been. Some had no roofs, some had no doors, some looked like they had been abandoned in the middle of becoming homes, as if the builders had suddenly remembered they were creating places for people to die. Then, at the end of the road, I saw it, number 17, a finished house, not half-built, not abandoned, finished, 2 stories, white walls, black roof, porch light glowing warm yellow, curtains in every window, smoke curling gently from the chimney. It looked normal, and somehow that made it worse, because every other house around it was only bones. My phone buzzed before I could get out of the car. New message from customer. "You're late." My mouth went dry. I checked the app. The order had only been accepted 12 minutes ago. I typed, "I'm outside." The reply came instantly. "No, you're not. Not yet." I looked up at the house, and every curtain moved at the same time. Not from wind, from hands. I could not see faces, but I knew something inside had just stepped back from the windows. The smart thing would have been to drive away, but the app suddenly changed. Delivery incomplete fee, $84.5. Account penalty, severe, customer waiting. My hands were shaking now, but anger was rising with the fear. I grabbed the bag, stepped into the rain, and walked toward the porch. The porch boards creaked under my shoes, though they looked brand new. The door was painted red, glossy and clean, with a brass knocker shaped like a human hand. I did not knock. I placed the bag carefully on the mat and took a photo for proof. The camera flashed. For 1 second, the photo preview showed something that was not on the porch in front of me. It showed the door open. It showed a pale hand reaching out, and it showed me standing there, smiling at myself from inside the house. I stumbled backwards so fast I almost fell off the steps. The real door was still closed. The porch light flickered. Then from inside the house, someone screamed. It was not a normal scream. It was small, trapped, human, and tired, like whoever was screaming had been doing it for a very long time. Then a voice whispered through the door, "Please. Help me." It was my voice. Not similar, not close. Mine. Same breath, same throat, same little crack I get when I am scared. I backed away, whispering, "No, no, no," but my phone buzzed again. Customer message, "Don't leave. You already came inside." The front door unlocked. Click. The handle turned slowly, though nobody was touching it from outside. A strip of darkness opened between the door and the frame. Inside, I saw a hallway lit by yellow lamps. Family photos lined the wall. Normal photos, smiling people, holidays, weddings, children holding balloons. Then I looked closer and saw that every face in every frame was mine. Me as a child in places I had never been. Me as a groom beside a woman I had never met. Me holding a baby I never had. Me old and gray, sitting in a chair by a window, staring at the camera, like I had been waiting for myself to arrive. The voice inside whispered again, "Back door." The delivery instructions came back to me. "Leave it at the back door. Don't knock. Don't look through the windows." I ran off the porch and round the side of the house, my shoes sinking into wet dirt. The backyard was surrounded by a tall wooden fence that had not been there when I pulled up. There was a porch, a back door, and above it, a small security camera blinking red. The food bag was sitting there already, the same brown paper bag, dry, untouched, waiting on the back mat. My hands went numb. I turned toward the front of the house, but the side path was gone. A wall stood where the path had been, smooth white siding, no corner, no exit. The house had changed while I was beside it. From inside, footsteps crossed the floor, slow, barefoot, dragging slightly. Something stopped behind the back door. Then it knocked from the inside, 3 gentle taps. I did not answer. The door opened anyway. Warm air rolled over me, smelling like cooked meat, old wood, and something rotten hidden under flowers. A kitchen waited inside, clean counters, a table set for 2, 1 chair pulled out. On the plate in front of that chair was the burger I had picked up, still wrapped, still cold. Across from it sat a phone, my phone, same cracked screen, same case, same wallpaper. It lit up by itself. A video began playing. In the video, I was sitting at the kitchen table, soaked from rain, whispering into the camera. "Do not take the order," video me said. "Do not drive to Hollow Creek Lane. It knows your name because you gave it your location. It knows your voice because you answered the calls. It knows your fear because you looked through the window." I backed away, but the back door slammed shut behind me. The room stretched longer. The kitchen became a hallway. The hallway became a living room. The living room became another hallway. Doors appeared on both sides, each one slightly open, each one leaking different sounds. My mother laughing, my father coughing, a baby crying, a man praying, me screaming. At the end of the hall stood a mirror. In it, I saw myself standing in the kitchen, but behind my reflection was a tall figure made of house shadows, long arms, bent neck, no real face. Only the suggestion of one pressed under wallpaper skin. It leaned close to my reflection and smiled with my mouth. I ran. I kicked open the nearest door and found myself in a bedroom. The walls were covered in delivery photos, hundreds of them, maybe thousands. Different drivers standing on the porch holding food bags, smiling awkwardly. For proof of delivery, under each photo was a date, a name, and a final message, order completed. Some photos were old and yellow. Some looked recent. One had Harris from the Dinosaur Island story, smiling with a pizza box, which made no sense at all, and beside his photo was written, "He knocked." Then I found my photo. It was not printed yet. It was coming out of a small printer on the desk, inch by inch, still warm. In the picture, I was inside the house, standing in that very bedroom, looking at the photograph. Behind me, the shadow thing was reaching for my neck. I ducked just as the closet door exploded open. Something passed over me with a rush of cold air. The lights went out. In the darkness, my own voice whispered from every corner, "Delivery incomplete." I crawled under the bed, pressing my mouth into my sleeve so I would not scream. Bare feet entered the room. Not too many. A crowd of invisible things stood around the bed, breathing softly. One of them bent down. I saw only its eye at first, a wet white circle in the dark. Then its mouth opened too wide, and my voice came out of it, "Like and subscribe." That made my fear turn into something sharp, not bravery. Bravery is clean. This was uglier, survival. I remembered the app, the order, the photo proof. The house wanted completion. It wanted a ritual. A delivery made properly, front door, back door, photo, voice, entry. It fed on people following instructions. So I did the only thing I could think of. I broke the order. I grabbed the burger bag from under my jacket, tore it open, and threw the food across the floor. The room screamed, not the creatures. The room. The walls bent inward. The photos flapped like trapped birds. The floor became soft under my hands, pulsing like a throat. I crawled out from under the bed and ran as doors slammed open and shut around me. The hallway twisted, but I kept throwing pieces of food at the walls, on the floor, into the photos, anywhere except the mat where it belonged. Every time the food touched the house, the lights flickered and the screaming grew louder. At the end of the hallway, the red front door appeared. I could see rain through its window. I lunged for it. The shadow thing dropped from the ceiling in front of me, wearing my face now, but stretched wrong, like a mask pulled over something. Too large. You can't leave, it said. You live here. I looked past it at the family photos. All my lives. All the versions of me the house wanted to trap, cook, repeat, and remember. Then I did the one thing the delivery instructions told me not to do. I knocked 3 times. The shadow froze. Every door in the house opened at once. From behind them came the voices of everyone it had taken, not screaming now, but whispering together. Wrong door. The red front door unlocked. I shoved past the thing wearing my face and fell out onto the porch. Rain hit me like ice. I rolled down the steps and slammed onto the muddy ground beside my car. The house behind me was no longer finished. It was a burned foundation, black beams, broken pipes, and a chimney standing alone in the rain. My phone was in my pocket again. The order was gone. The app showed no delivery history, no address, no customer. Just one notification. Thank you for choosing contactless delivery. I drove until the sun came up and never delivered food again. The next morning, I searched old news articles about Hollow Creek Lane. 3 construction workers had disappeared there, yes, but the oldest story was worse. Before the development, there had been a farmhouse. On that land, a family lived there. They took in travelers during storms, fed them, let them sleep. Then one winter night, every traveler who had ever stayed there returned. At the same time, knocking on every door and window, speaking in the family's voices. By morning, the house had burned down, and nobody inside was found, they said. The land was cursed by hospitality. By invitation, by the simple dangerous act of opening a door to something hungry. I tried to move on. I changed my number, deleted the delivery app, stopped driving near unfinished neighborhoods. But last night, at exactly 2:41, my phone buzzed on the nightstand, new order available. I had no delivery app installed, the pickup location was my bedroom. The drop-off address was 17 Hollow Creek Lane. The customer name was mine, and the instructions said, this time, knock first. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to Bloody Chapter for more horror stories that stay with you long after the sound fades.